Alright folks, so this one's been a long time coming. A lot of you asked me questions on this, what my thoughts are. So what we're going to talk about are diet drugs, specifically GLP-1 mimetics, semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy, these kinds of things. So let's get into it. What this classification of drug does, the GLP-1 mimetics, is they act in a manner similar to GLP-1, which is a hormone produced in the gut that acts on the leptin-ghrelin axis and just makes you not want to eat as much. So what I'm trying to say is, first and foremost, one needs to understand that these drugs don't like speed up your metabolism or burn more fat or do any kind of like magical hijinks. It literally just makes you want to eat less. So as opposed to just deciding to eat less, you have the drug make that decision for you. It's important to understand the mechanism of action because GLP-1 is triggered naturally by the mechanoreceptors, basically little like sensory neurons that you have in your GI tract that detect when the GI tract is stretched by food volume. So you can in effect manually trigger the GLP-1 hunger suppressant effect just by front loading your meals with your fibrous foods, your vegetables, your fruits, your fibrous grains. And that's a accessible to everyone, cost-effective way to simulate, obviously to a lesser degree because drugs work very powerfully, that's why they're drugs, but that practice can work to a lesser degree in the same manner that GLP-1 mimetics do. And the thing is, folks, you know, these drugs exist for the people that need them, so I'm not in any way, shape, or form anti, diet drugs, prescription drugs, whatever the case may be. I'm glad I live in 2024 and we have this medical technology for those of us in need. But the reason why I promote alternative means to, pulling the prescription drug lever is the psychology. The thing is, when you have a drug decide for you that you don't need to eat, it prevents you from having to address the habits that you have associated with food that got you to the point where you feel the need to get a GLP-1 prescription in the first place. What has been found in numerous studies and anecdotes of individuals who take these GLP-1 mimetics is that after they stop, like let's say you take it for X amount of time, you lose the weight that you want to lose. After they stop, they immediately have a very quick rebound in weight for a couple of factors, but the primary one is that psychologically there's no change in behavior. The behavior was driven by the drug, so without the presence of the drug, there is no conscious change in behavior, no new habits were formed, and so there's a quick backslide into the old habits that led to the weight gain in the first place. Secondarily, but also as important, is that, I say lots of times, food is fuel, it's substrate, it's building material, but it's not the trigger for the adaptation. The adaptation that you're ostensibly looking for in this case is a reduction in adiposity. You want to lose weight, but by weight we're talking about body fat. Well, here's the thing. If you're not training and you're just eating less, there's no impetus for your body to make that reduced amount of you just fat. You're going to lose as much, if not in many cases more, lean mass than body fat with no training and just eating less. Especially if, because the drug is making the decision for you, you don't address your old habits and you make the same bad food choices, you just have less quantity of them. I know people that take these drugs and their diet looks something like, oh, well, I'll have like a coffee and like half of a donut as one meal, and then like a handful of chips for another meal, and then maybe some French fries for another meal. You're not going to retain lean mass doing that. You'll lose weight, sure, but it's not going to be the outcome that you expect. And again, going back to my earlier point, both physiologically and psychologically, once you get off the GLP-1 mimetics, you're going to see a massive rebound in weight. Decades of study in this field have shown us that in terms of calories in, calories out, the bigger lever is calories in. What I mean by that is if you eat, let's say you eat 2,000 calories and you create a deficit by burning an additional 300 calories a day with just exercise, right? Cool, you're in a deficit. Versus you don't exercise and you just eat 300 calories less. The eating 300 calories less is going to be more impactful to you losing weight. However, the exercise will be more impactful to the type of weight that you lose. And so all that to say, whether or not you make the decision to use GLP-1 mimetics to assist in your reduction in adiposity, it's still very important to take the time to develop good habits around what types of food that you choose to eat, how much of it you choose to eat, and you still really need to train. Because it's exercise that's the stimulus, that's the stress for the adaptation, not the reduction in calories. Losing fat on a caloric deficit is not an ironclad guarantee without the training stimulus to retain lean tissue. So train, eat, sleep, and stay in the fight. Thanks for watching.